KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Right, 25 years ago, Joe Lacob owned a women's basketball team right here in the Bay Area, the San Jose Lasers.
Yeah, I forgot. I didn't know that. You knew that. Yeah.
So he's
They
always
didn't
had
last
that
very
interest.
long, though, did they?
I think 1 or 2 seasons, and then that league went down, and then the WNBA surfaced. So here we are, 6 years later.
Nice to see another one here in the Bay Area. All right, our live news continues in just a few minutes here on KTVU. It's Alex Savage with West Coast Rap up next.
One Hollywood strike coming to an end with screenwriters heading back to work today, but the threat of another West Coast strike is now intensifying, and it could have a major impact on Las Vegas tourism.
People are demanding their rights and a fair wage increase to keep up with inflation.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Rap. I'm Alex Savage. Tonight, the threat of a strike is growing in Las Vegas, and it could cripple casinos there. Members of the Culinary Union in Las Vegas have authorized a strike. Members are asking for the largest wage increases they've ever had to keep up with inflation. They also want a workload reduction, especially when it comes to housekeeping. Other demands include added safety against workplace violence and job protections amid technology advances and AI.
Since the pandemic, our workload has increased by triple, maybe quadruple amounts.
It's just been more workload on everybody, you know. Less people, more work to get it done, you know. The job of 2 is now the job of 1.
We are constantly busy, which is good. I mean, we all have job security, amen, but we need to be paid for it.
The Culinary Union represents tens of thousands of Las Vegas hospitality workers. Negotiators are scheduled to return to the bargaining table next week with MGM Resorts, Caesars, and Wynn Resorts. MGM has issued a statement saying both sides are committed to negotiating a contract that is good for everyone. Caesars has not responded to requests for comment, and Wynn Resorts executives say they have no comment on the strike authorization. As the threat of a strike intensifies in Las Vegas, Hollywood screenwriters got back to work today. Fox 11's Christy Fajardo breaks down the agreement that ended the nearly 5-month-long work stoppage by the Writers Guild of America.
It took a strike, 5 months and 5 days of marathon negotiations, but the WGA strike officially ended at 12:01 a.m. And that means that writers can finally go through the gates of studios like this one. The deal, again, was reached after 5 days of marathon negotiations, and it allows writers to go back to work until the WGA's roughly 11,500 members take a ratification vote. That is expected to be held between October 2nd and 9th. The 3-year contract and all 94 pages of it have been posted on the WGA website. The deal increases minimum salaries, health and pension contributions, and includes a new residual formula, bumping pay for successful streaming programs. That had been a big sticking point during the talks. So was the use of artificial intelligence. And writers got concessions there as well. The contract bars the studios from using AI to write or rewrite literary material or using AI-generated content as source material.
This really was a win for the union. The strike worked, although I would rather have seen the CEOs in the room 150 days ago before the contract expired.
Both the WGA West and East Coast boards are endorsing the contract with the Studio Alliance, but even with the WGA strike over, that doesn't mean that production will get back on track. SAG-AFTRA still doesn't have a deal, and of course production cannot resume without the actors. And SAG sent an email to members last night saying they have no confirmed dates to meet with the studios, and some writers may opt to honor the SAG picket lines and not go back to work. Nonetheless, the latest deal is bringing hope that production may soon resume here in the LA area, and all those people who depend on it for their livelihood will get back to work. In Culver City, Christy Fajardo, Fox 11 News.
Certainly a sense of optimism in Hollywood right now. The writers, though, may have a tentative deal in place, but actors continue to strike and walk picket lines. Michael Schneider, who's the TV editor for Variety, joins us live tonight with some perspective on where all of this leaves Hollywood productions. Michael, thank you for taking the time. We have heard that the late-night shows are planning to return soon, maybe by next week, but other scripted shows and movies, it sounds like, could take a bit longer to return with the actors still on strike. Does SAG-AFTRA need to reach a deal with the studios before production in Hollywood can really ramp up in earnest?
Yeah, before most productions ramp up. And some late-breaking news is that SAG-AFTRA has announced that they are going back to the table with the AMPTP, the producers, on October 2nd. So at that point, hopefully, then negotiations will resume. And there's a feeling out there that there's a lot of momentum right now. And there's a real need and desire by both sides to get a deal done. So if we're optimistic, then we could see a deal by, say, mid-October, perhaps, and then cameras could start rolling again soon after that. And by November, this town will be buzzing once again with productions all over town.
And that's what everyone wants to hear. That's great news that you're bringing us tonight. Do we know what it is that prompted the two sides to restart negotiations?
I think they wanted to give it a beat after the WGA deal was in place, and the feeling is, well, now it's time to let's wrap this up. I think everyone is ready to get back to work on both sides, and so it was just a matter of time before they got back to the table. And good news is they're going to be back at the table very soon.
All right. So from the studio's perspective here, as we screenwriters return to work, how are the studios sort of prioritizing which shows to begin production on first?
Well, there's a lot of shows that actually have scripts that are already in the can, that have already been written and just need to actually be filmed. So the shows that already have scripts ready to go, especially the most popular, the biggest shows, and any films, perhaps out of big franchises that are ready to film, once the actors are able to do that, you'll see that first. The broadcast networks in particular have been hampered this fall because they have no new episodes of their hot and most popular shows. So they're also really eager to get back to work and get those shows on the air so that hopefully by January, some of your favorite scripted shows will be back on TV.
All right. We know in those negotiations between the Writers Guild of America and the major studios, some of the major issues were higher pay, minimum staffing requirements, bonuses, more residuals when it comes to streaming, and then, of course, this issue of how AI would be used in writing scripts. How much similarity and overlap is there in terms of the key sticking points when it comes to the negotiations between SAG-AFTRA and the studios?
I mean, there are quite a bit of similarities, which is why I think the hope is that this is at least a template now that SAG-AFTRA can work off of to get a similarly strong deal. There are differences, of course, in what it means for actors, AI included, versus what it means for writers. So there's, some points that will have to be ironed out, and negotiations will have to deal with some specific issues that actors are concerned about that maybe writers weren't. But nonetheless, there's a great template now in place for the actors to move forward.
Finally, I think think one of the sort of overarching questions here as the writer's strike wraps up is why it took nearly 5 months for the two sides to return to the table. They got this deal done in just a matter of days. Why did it take so long? Why did the strike have to drag on for that amount of time?
I mean, it's a good question. It's one that I'm sure we're all going to be asking for a while. But, things were pretty heated for a while. Both sides really were holding their ground and not giving an inch. And as a result, there was just this stalemate that lasted a long time. And unfortunately, a lot of folks got caught in the crossfire. Thankfully, that was finally budged a week or so ago. But nonetheless, yeah, it took a long time to get these two sides to finally talk and sit down.
Yeah, but great news that SAG-AFTRA is once again going to restart negotiations with the major studios there in Hollywood. We appreciate you bringing us that update. Michael Schneider from Variety, good to see you. Thank you for the time.
So much.
Another potential strike could have thousands of West Coast healthcare workers walking off the job as early as Sunday. Some Kaiser Permanente workers have threatened to go on strike if a bargaining deal is not reached by the end of this week. Their union says members would walk out for 3 days in October at hundreds of healthcare facilities across several states, including Washington, Oregon, and California. The union says Kaiser has failed to address a staffing crisis that has led to dangerous wait times for patients. Kaiser says the union's claims are misleading. President Biden left the San Francisco Bay Area just a short time ago to begin the next leg of his trip here to the West Coast. Today, the president focused on the safety of artificial intelligence during a meeting of his Council of Advisors on Science and Technology in San Francisco.
Thanks to our administrations, 15 American technology companies have already begun to implement voluntary commitments to help ensure that AI technology is safe, secure, and trustworthy before it's released to the public. That includes extensive independent safety testing. This fall, I'm going to take executive action, and my administration is going to continue to work with bipartisan legislation so America leads the way toward responsible AI innovation.
President Biden is now on his way to Arizona, and there are calls tonight for the president to focus on the humanitarian crisis at the southern border while he is visiting Arizona, with huge numbers of migrants continuing to arrive seeking asylum. The president's most recent visit to Arizona was last month when he signed a national monument designation for nearly 1 million acres around the Grand Canyon. Some state and local leaders say the president should visit the border to better understand the issues there. The Yuma area has seen some of its highest numbers of illegal crossings over the last 2.5 years.
It's highly disappointing that the president gets this close to the border and continues to pretty much ignore the situation.
The president is planning to spend most of his time in the Phoenix area tomorrow. He's expected to deliver an address that will pay tribute to the late Arizona Senator John McCain. Oregon's governor has unveiled a new plan designed to tackle the growing fentanyl crisis in her state. She's directed state police to work on new ways to disrupt the supply chain of that deadly drug. As Fox 12's Chandler Watkins explains, the governor's plan does not end there.
Increasing and relocating staff to strategic local drug enforcement teams, extending its high-visibility enforcement program to identify drug and alcohol-impaired drivers, and designing interagency saturation patrols with an emphasis on fentanyl interaction. Those are just some of the several new fentanyl strategic enforcement and disruption strategies Oregon State Police will be using to crack down on the drug's distribution. OSP will also be partnering with the Department of Justice to update and make additional training available to public safety partners to avoid unlawful searches and address potential biases prior to putting these strategies in place. So far this year, Oregon State Police says it seized 62 pounds of powder and over 230,000 fentanyl pills before it reached Oregonians. It's a crisis that's been affecting the state, Portland in particular. Last Friday,
it sounds like they may be doing CPR on this child. The patient is going to be in the parking lot.
Emergency crews administered Narcan to a toddler after they say bystanders witnessed the child spitting up aluminum foil, with crews finding fentanyl in the parent's vehicle.
Shortly thereafter, the child was able to breathe on their own and was fine, had reversed the effect of the opioids or the effect of the fentanyl.
And near what used to be an alleged open-air drug market off Southwest Washington, James Musgrove, a social worker, shared his first-hand experience with the drug crisis in downtown Portland.
I've used Narcan, and there was a guy dead right there at the bar. I saved the guy at the bar. There's a guy over here before all this was cleaned up, at the bus stop, passed out, Narcan. This person right here took 4 Narcan.
And that was Fox 12's Chandler Watkins reporting for us tonight. Oregon experienced the largest increase in fentanyl deaths last year. According to Families Against Fentanyl, those deaths were up 67% in the state compared to 2021. 2 other West Coast states round out the top 3. Washington ranks second with a 65% increase in fentanyl deaths, and Nevada deaths spiked by 58%. One police department in Idaho is releasing graphic body camera video in the hopes of spreading awareness about the dangers of fentanyl. The Caldwell Police Department shared these images yesterday of officers saving the life of someone who overdosed in a gas station parking lot. People who know the man called for help. When officers arrived, they immediately administered CPR and 3 doses of Narcan. The officers say after the man regained consciousness, he admitted to smoking a powder form of fentanyl. Between 2020 and 2021, the rate of fentanyl-related overdose deaths has doubled in the state of Idaho. Newly released police dash camera video from Washington shows sparks flying as police chased after a stolen patrol car. Authorities say the wanted driver attacked Bellevue police officers before stealing a patrol car. Authorities from several different departments pursued the man. Ultimately, the chase came to an end when officers used spike strips and a pit maneuver to stop the car. The driver ran from the crash scene, but a police canine caught up with him. Tonight, that suspect is now facing charges of vehicle theft as well as assault. Coming up tonight on West Coast Wrap, one city here in the West has scrapped plans to send seized guns to Ukraine. Why Phoenix's city council believes it would be against the law to support Ukraine's war efforts in this way. And forget about a press conference. We'll break down the unusual way basketball star Damian Lillard is saying goodbye to Trailblazers fans in Portland after a blockbuster trade today.
And in weather, a warmer day in the San Francisco Bay Area. Lots of sunshine, but still tracking some rain up to the north and the Pacific Northwest. We'll have more on your West Coast Wrap forecast coming up.
A hearing got underway in Boulder, Colorado today to determine whether the man accused of shooting and killing 10 people at a supermarket is competent to stand trial. That mass shooting happened back in 2021. A psychologist testified the suspect, 24-year-old Ahmad Alissa, told her he bought guns to carry out a mass shooting and suggested he wanted police to kill him. Alissa has been diagnosed with schizophrenia but was found competent last month. His public defender asked for this new hearing to review that finding. A plan by the city of Phoenix to send confiscated guns to Ukraine has now been scrapped. The city council unanimously voted to cancel that plan because it's against state law. Back in June, the council approved sending hundreds of weapons seized by law enforcement over to the war-torn country. However, Arizona's Attorney General Chris Mays says the effort conflicts with state law. A member of Congress from the San Francisco Bay Area has now introduced a bill to address what he calls the student loan crisis. Congressman John Garamendi, along with Pennsylvania Republican Brian Fitzpatrick, are reintroducing a bill that would allow students with federal loans to refinance their debt. The bill would also allow borrowers in certain medical fields to defer payments until completion of their program, among other benefits. Garamendi says the average 2023 graduate is more than $37,000 in debt at interest rates far higher than most other loans. Congressman Garamendi said in a statement, quote, "This mountain of debt prevents graduates from reaching important milestones, such as starting a family, buying a home, or opening their own business. Our bill would help to relieve some of the debt burden faced by American students and their families, while ensuring that the federal government is not making a profit on the backs of our students." All right, turning now to the weather, and it is starting to look like fall here in the West. This is an aerial view over Summit County, Colorado, showing beautiful fall colors beginning to appear. The leaves are shifting from green over to yellows and burnt oranges. Foliage experts say growth that followed this year's unusually wet spring will create a particularly vivid fall landscape. Let's turn things over now to KTVU meteorologist Mark Tamayo, who is tracking conditions all across the West. It's starting to feel like fall for a lot of folks, Mark.
Yeah, definitely some changes, Alex. Remember, fall started last Friday night, and yeah, definitely talking about some cooler temperatures overnight, but still fairly warm, at least for parts of the West Coast over the past few days. Talking about still some warm temperatures, but also some cool showers showing up on the map here. So the main action continues to be up in the Pacific Northwest. Still some scattered rain showers for Portland and Seattle, but as you can see, it's still dry for a good portion of California, down toward Eureka, down toward the Bay Area and Southern California. Current numbers, as we check those out, you see that where the cool pattern is setting up right now, it's 57 degrees in Seattle, Reno 72, and Palm Springs 94. Still talking about triple digits in the desert. Phoenix currently 100 degrees. So we have the cool, unsettled pattern to the north, and we still have the hot conditions closer to Phoenix right now. Showing you this up in the north out towards Spokane. You can see all the cloud cover and even still some lingering rain showers. A high today of 57 degrees as we check out some more neighborhoods in the Oakland area, looking out towards San Francisco. A beautiful day with mostly sunny skies. Temperatures definitely warming up in the mid-70s. And as we continue to move, areas closer to New Mexico, Albuquerque today, lots of clear skies, temperatures in the 80s, 87 degrees. So here's the overall weather story. The showers continue up in the Pacific Northwest. Overall, it's fairly nice for California, fair skies out toward Nevada. And we're still talking about triple digits. In fact, Phoenix could be approaching record highs, with temperatures topping 100 degrees for tomorrow. So here is the setup in terms of the rain forecast. And it's interesting, we will see a pattern change as we head toward the Friday and into the weekend. You can see what happens with the forecast model. Still the rain showers up to the north. This is Thursday. And then into Friday, some of this energy begins to dive to the south. So for San Francisco, we'll have some more cloud cover, and there's a slight chance of a light shower or sprinkle Friday afternoon to Friday night. And look what happens. We're talking about some more scattered showers possibly into the weekend. So this is Saturday, heading out toward the Tahoe area. We could have some scattered rain showers and even the possibility down in Southern California. So the pattern changing around a bit as we head into the weekend. For tomorrow, for your Thursday, you can see the numbers out there ranging from the upper 50s up towards Seattle, 70s for a good portion of California for San Francisco and San Diego. And then there you can see the triple digits out toward Phoenix for tomorrow afternoon. So the 3-day forecast, still that rain cloud up to the north. It is a nice Thursday, but as you can see here, the changes as we start off the weekend for San Francisco, the possibility of a scattered shower Baltimore. Same for Los Angeles. And still talking about triple digits in Phoenix. Looks like that system will eventually cool things off down toward Phoenix as we head into the weekend. So, Alex, the pattern eventually changing, and the rain showers, which have been kind of focused up to the north, could be approaching portions of California into the weekend.
All right, yeah, we will certainly keep tabs on it. Mark, thank you. In southern Arizona, police shot and killed a black bear that had broken into several homes there. Surveillance footage from Friday night shows that bear near homes in the town of Bisbee. The state's Game and Fish Department says the bear got into one home through an open window and then got inside another home and trashed it. Police officers shot and killed the bear after they say it posed a threat to an older homeowner. None of the people living at those homes were hurt. Health authorities in Colorado confirm one person has died after contracting the plague, the disease that killed 200 million Europeans during the Middle Ages. The CDC says the bacterial infection is very rare now. It's usually caused by fleas, and it can be treated with modern antibiotics. Symptoms include swollen lymph nodes and a sudden fever. Colorado health officials say the risk of contracting animal-borne diseases increases during the summer when people are outdoors more and more likely to come into contact with wild animals. Coming up tonight on West Coast Rap, basketball star Damian Lillard is on the move. Coming up tonight, the unique way he's saying goodbye to Portland Trail Blazers fans after a huge trade that was announced today. Also, people across West Coast states taking a shot tonight at winning $850 million. Basketball fans in Portland are going to have to get used to seeing their star player wearing another jersey. Trailblazers point guard Damian Lillard has been traded to the Milwaukee Bucks as part of a three-team deal. The Oakland native spent 11 years on the Blazers. Lillard requested a trade from the team back in July. And Lillard, who also raps using the name Dame Dollar, is reaching out to fans tonight by dropping a new single. He posted on social media that his song Farewell is for the fans and the city of Portland that I love truly. Tonight's Powerball jackpot has soared to an estimated $850 million. It's the world's 9th largest lottery prize of all time. There have been 29 drawings now without a winner dating back to July 19th. We should let you know your odds of winning are 1 in 292.2 million. The cash option for a possible winner tonight will be just north of $397 million. Tonight, a West Coast harvest is underway. Those are some of the first shakes from California's walnut harvest. Large machines grip the trees to shake the walnuts free of the limbs. Up next, those walnuts will be dried and then they'll be made ready for the market. And walnut tree growers produce about 1.6 billion pounds of walnuts every year. That does it for us tonight. Have a great rest of your evening.